amongst our friends, amongst different types of people, how to handle life and how to enjoy life and how to shine in life. That's all UTurn is about. So we're going to walk through it, even though it's just our family all around us, watching our every move, stalking us like a prey. What is that?
Their preferences also would change. No, I like the lights on. No, I like the lights off.
Hey dear friends, welcome our U-turners to our U-turn Tik Talk first episode podcast.
Yes.
Did I do that right?
That's good.
I trained 100 times to say that. It's a little bit different than what we do usually. This is going to be a talk show, a conversation about how us children of the Lord Jesus can live our life under different circumstances, facing various issues, obstacles in our life, or facing various scenarios in our home, in our school, in our workplace, in our performances, in our hangout in the street, amongst our friends, amongst different types of people, how to handle life and how to enjoy life and how to shine in life. That's all UTurn is about. So we're going to walk through it, and we have a special guest on our show. She's not a special guest. She is my junior host. Isn't that right? Stella?
Co-host.
Co-host. Okay. Fine. Take that if you want.
So we're going to talk about stories from our life, stories that reflect our daily living. So as young people, we go through so many things, and we wonder if somebody actually listens to us, somebody actually understands us, somebody who can relate to us. So we've been teenagers, we've been young people, so we know all the different things that young people go through, and we've gone through that personally. So we just want to talk it out and just relate to you, and hopefully give you a solution on how you can tackle that, overcome that, and go through life in this age.
And we've cleverly termed it as Tik Talk. Not as per the TikTok short videos that you see in that app. We're not going to dance here. We're not going to do a special move here, but this is just going to be talk, and it's cleverly named TikTok by a producer. Kudos to her. And today, very specially, we are going to engage in something unique. And so, welcome and thanks for joining us in this podcast. Tune in every week to listen to this. And where can we find this?
So we are on Apple Podcasts, we are on Spotify, Google Podcasts, YouTube, and various other podcast platforms. So you can subscribe or follow and tune in to us each week to listen to each one of the topics that we talk about.
And we were thinking which language to put this in, and finally we decided let it be English so that it can reach as many people as possible. Hopefully, if you really, many of you call us and say you want it in your local language, then tell us and we'll try to do something in that. And let's get into this. We are going to discuss today about what if a young person has lesser space, personal space in his or her life. So that's what I really thought about and wanted to discover with you, Stella. And so what if, imagine this scenario with me, picturize it as I'm saying these words, that maybe you have a own room today. Maybe you have your own space in your house today that nobody can come in. You lock the door and you're there and nobody can intrude. But what if us as young people don't have that privilege, and we are in a tight, compact space, in a compact home, in just maybe one room with our father, our mother, our brother, our sister, maybe even add in grandparents and our dog or cat or whatever, all these different types of people hanging out just in one space, and you're living right there just in one room along with all of them. Can you imagine something like that?
Um, it pops out so many scenarios in my mind of how we would live, how what we would speak, how we would present ourselves. You know, you don't have that personal space to, be a certain way, be comfortable with yourself, or just relax and. Uh, how you would be in your natural habitat versus when you're exposed and out in the world. Everybody's watching every minute of what you're doing. Every thought that you have, it doesn't even feel like it's private. Even that you feel like, can everybody hear me? Can everybody see what I'm thinking or hear what I'm thinking? In that kind of a way. So that really makes you think how different your life would be, even after coming home from work or coming home from college, like coming back to a space where you're again interacting with people like 24 hours.
Wow, you make it sound very creepy, even though it's just our family all around us, watching our every move, stalking us like a prey. What is that? But you may have a point there. We're going to explore that. Short answer: would you live in such a space? Would you live in such a compact space?
I think I'm so used to, having that balance between, uh, during the day I would spend it with, family or other people around me, but at least some point in the day I would need a personal space, to just be with myself in a quiet room, to simply just sit or, like think about the things that happen in my, as introverts we tend to recharge by being by ourselves. For extroverts, it's being with people. That's how they recharge. But so, in that sense, I think I would prefer to have some personal space, nobody watching, nobody talking, or just in a quiet space.
As you say, I think we all know that I'm the extrovert of the family, right?
I think even while traveling, like opposite to what you've said, since you're such an introvert, when we go out for meetings in a different country, we usually stay in the same room. So parents would stay in one room and we would share a room. So at home we have our own rooms, but when we travel, we usually tend to, before you got married. So during that time, I would notice a lot of similarities of how when we would go out, we would be very extroverted. We would talk to a lot of people, be around a lot of people, engage with them. And then when we come back to our hotel room, we would just be silent.
Yeah.
We would talk to each other. You would be wearing your headphones. I would be doing my own thing. And we would just, it wouldn't be like we're mad at each other or angry, but we're just simply relaxing. With our own characteristics, it's a calm silence, is what I would say, a peaceful silence.
We want some time to be with ourselves. We've been with everybody all the time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, Sharon is the extrovert of the family, and you and I are the same category, I think.
Yeah.
So, let's just imagine this home where we are living as young people together with our family, together with our parents and our siblings. What kind of differences would we see in various situations, or various our character or our relationship with them, or what kind of differences would we see? I am first picturizing that we have to, as you say, wake up in the morning, right in the morning, with them. One person wakes up, suppose dad wants to wake up early and pray loud. He has to pray loud in that room, and he has to express himself to the Lord in that room. And of course, everybody else has to hear that sound, and it's like the rooster waking up an entire village. We have to wake up along with that. I'm not saying about our dad, but uh, yeah, that's what happens. Or if your brother or sister is rushing wants to study early in the morning and prepare. Everybody wakes up, so the whole um, the whole family is up right there. And what else happens in a compact room? Our timings change. As I said, we wake up all together, and all our time schedules are aligned with each other, become aligned with each other, whether we like it or not.
Also, like being at home or being at work, or that schedule changes, like what each person would want, whether it be having food, or whether it be their preferences also would change. No, I like the lights on. No, I like the lights
Yes.
off. So in that way, sometimes even conflicts would arise. No, I want it done a certain way. No, I want it done this way. This is the correct thing to do. So balancing that is also very important, especially when it comes to family. Many times, since we are with them all the time, in this scenario, we might have conflicts arise. You're always picking on me, you're always doing this to me, promoting something that you don't think is what's actually the truth, but they see it in a different way. No, I'm watching you. No, I know what's happening with you. So they would try to portray you in a different picture, and that would kind of hurt you, and that would make you insecure, that would make you question or overthink, and maybe even grow a little dislike with that person. So that sort of thing might happen. And how do we overcome that, being in one space, but they are your family, so you can't just cut them off and leave because you have to live with them. So that's a challenge that we have to face, but in a civil way. How do we do that?
As you say, disagreements come, and yes, it's part of our relationship with each other, and we have to find a way to manage through that. And we have to give up something, and or they have to give up something. That is the same when we go to a workplace and work with someone we don't know. But here, as you say, we have to live with them, so all the more you've got to make sacrifices for each other. But there's a lot of politics involved in that. You don't want to keep on sacrificing what you want to do or what you believe in, but there must be a mutual, coordination. This is what happens. Yes, as you say, if we are there together all the time, there will be issues in which we don't want to do something, and our parents or our brother or our sister wants to do. So we have to go along and adjust with each other. It's a part of life. So you learn that how to manage with someone, especially in marriage. You can't push your wife out to another room or a husband out to another room and say, I don't want to live with you. You can live there, but we'll still be married. So
That's a
it's,
good example, because when you have a fight, you can't say you can go sleep somewhere else, you can
yeah.
go to a different room, or you can go to your mom's house or something like that. Because at the end of the day, you made a commitment to be with each other. So how can you just say, "Oh, I'm mad at you today, so I'm not going to talk to you, and I'm not going to look at your face." So in a home, it's also like that. When a father or a child, when they both, because of generation gaps, there are a lot of difference of opinion, the way that both generations are exposed to different things, because of that, because of their friends' influence, because of the world's influence, because of, generally when they go out, they see different things. So many things young people may see differently than their parents. So because of that, there might be a lot of, bigger difference of opinion, like bigger fights, bigger things that they wanted to do.
It's take the appearance.
Yeah.
That's the biggest fight that you always get into with your parents. Your clothes, you want to dress a certain way, they don't want to. Your hair, your makeup, and your shoes, even your culture and how you behave with other people. You will want to portray yourself in a different manner, youthy, hip manner, trendy manner, like me, being in with the crowd, right? I can keep going on, but uh,
They may say you shouldn't go out with certain people, or they may say that you should study this course, or they may say that you should behave like this in church. You should do all of these spiritual activities to portray yourself. more spiritually or have a more stronger Christian life. And sometimes we may think that this is not correct, this is not what it said, this is what I've learned. And, and sometimes the parents won't understand where the children are coming from what they are trying to express and things like that. No matter whose side is right, the balance sometimes we lack, and we don't try to understand each other, and we don't try to sit and talk to each other. We don't communicate in a healthy way. We just sometimes just burst out, bang the door, bang the table, and say, "No, I'm right. I have authority. I have to prove this. I have to prove that." And children also express in that way. They just scream and like curse their parents, and sometimes that doesn't lead into a healthy discussion. That doesn't lead into a healthy relationship. At the end of the day, you have to look at them. You have to sleep in the same place. In the morning, you have to see each other. And sometimes because of that, they skip family prayer, they skip praying for each other. And those things also just fade away. Like one day it stops happening, and then they just stop, and they create a distance. They communicate through their mother, communicate through their father, have a barrier in between them. So it keeps growing and growing and growing. But as a family, we have to make sure that we have that connection no matter what big fights we have. At the end of the day, they are the ones that God has given to us. So we should always remember that, and always try to at least understand our perspectives. We don't always have to agree and follow it to the dot, but just respect each other and say, okay, this is why you're coming from, and try to, understand their point of view, and lead our life the way that, God guides us to.
That's very valuing each other, respecting each other.
Yeah.
And it's important because God wants us to move together. Otherwise, a break in relationship here and there, and He cannot be part. Finally, as you say, we don't pray together, and we lose the connection with Him and what He wants to do through our family. And through that leak, the devil enters. So, yeah, this is the perfect example of why I brought this compact one room scenario inside. As we discovered, my friends, that we have to find a way to be in mutual agreement, and or find a way to respect, or find a way to accept each other, and to move forward, because you might not stay in one room with your family, but there will be situations like this arising every day. I know you're nodding your head and saying, yes, I get into disagreements. I dislike what they're saying. Sometimes I have grinded my teeth and said, fine, I'll humble myself, Lord, and just obey and move forward, because at the end of the day, you will reward me for that. You will give me what I want, even better than what I want. So let me humble myself and listen to my parents, or listen to my baby sister, even though she is really getting on my nerves right now. So, um, yeah, that's good. Another scenario that happens in a one room situation is about a relationship with our parents. Relationship, yes, disagreements is one thing, but just being in contact with them, we lose out on that. We don't have a healthy relationship with our family. We keep on staying in our corner, our room, our space, and we don't even. Sometimes it's so bad that your mother is suffering in the next room with a headache, or your father is suffering with high blood pressure or cold, and your little brother is suffering, little sister is suffering, and you're there enjoying and rocking out to music on the other room. You're there celebrating your victories your own way, or you're having fun. It's so sad that this happens next to each other. And that's why it's important to pop out our head and see what our family is up to. Um, that's why I make it a point sometimes to go and see how my grandmother is, and see just how she's doing, listen to her, and that also makes our family happy. they want to have a relationship with us. Our parents want to, we are their joy, so they miss out on that. They might not ask us, but they'll feel very sad that I'm losing that connection with my son, my daughter, in whom I have put all my love upon, in whom I put all my efforts and energy upon raising them, and now they don't even look at me. They feel so sad. So um, we lose that relationship if we are in our private space all the time, isn't it?
Yeah, many times we don't know what happens in our, our family member's life. Somebody else would come in and say,
Hmm.
"Did you know your child did this?" Or "I heard this happened. Congratulations!" And they
That's the
would say all
worst.
these things, and we would feel so bad. Oh no, they haven't told us, or they would feel bad that we haven't told them. So those kind of things would really affect our relationship. Like, why are they not trusting us to say this directly to us, or congratulate us, or recognize that we've done certain things, and not only that, as you said, we have to make it a point to at least, check in each day of what's going on, like all the things that we are doing, what we're working on. It doesn't have to be great accomplishments. Some people would say, I need to finish everything and succeed in these things so that I can make my parents proud. But instead of that, just giving them an update would make them so happy that we are trusting them, we are valuing them in our life, that we are able to share what's going on in our life. So we have these things that we do to, that makes a gap between our family members. So in our family, what we do is we at least sit together for one meal each day, even though we all have our different schedules, we all have our different works, we are in one place, or at work, or at home, or at a meeting, but at least for dinner, for lunch, or something like that, we all make it a point to sit together without our devices, without our phones, and simply talk to each other about what's going on, our grievances, or our achievements, what we're working on, and things like that. And also meeting for family prayer at night, we recap what happened during the day and we take it to God. And that's the most rewarding thing, that we know, okay, we all have these things that we're going, what we're doing, but at the end of the day, God has to take care of it. So when we shared with each other, we give each other suggestions, we give each other encouragement, we give each other, a sense that, okay, I'm listening, I know what you're going through, some points, some advice. And it doesn't have to be like 24 hours, okay, you have to tell me everything that you're doing. But all these little irks that we are taking in our heart so seriously, when we share it with somebody, it definitely loosens up the weight a little bit. And we get to have that kind of a bonding moment as well.
Take it to the Lord in prayer. We all bring it together, as you beautifully say,
Yeah.
share it with each other, and also raise our requests and what we are struggling with, what another person is struggling with, together to the Lord. And He's also happy that He's part of the
Yeah.
family, and we respect Him enough to include Him. He feels so thrilled, and yeah, this is what is important today in having, because over time, if we lose communicating to them, then there is a serious breakdown. We don't share anything, and one person builds up this burden, and they really, their blood pressure shoots up, or they have some internal depressive issues, and they get into the worst scenario. I heard in the news that a girl who was preparing for NEET failed in her first attempt, and her parents tried to support her, but um, they for a long time she was studying alone in her room. And one fine day, in the next while she was preparing to take the next attempt, they found that she had um, thrown away her life, fearing what might happen to her if she failed again. She was so afraid, and her parents had no idea that she was that scared. They told the police that, they even said, there's no pressure on you, you can do whatever you want, even if this doesn't work out. But she didn't share, she couldn't, or she didn't, we don't know the story behind it, but she didn't share all that. She didn't have a chance to share all that with her parents. And so she took this drastic step. And so before it's too late to see all these types of steps taken, before there is a silence in communication, before it becomes where you're all sitting there in the same room but nobody wants to talk to each other because you're not used to even sharing, you're not used to even communicating or talking to each other. The father is not used to talking to the children as a loving person, or the children is not able to open up to the mother or the father or to each other. It becomes a very sad state. Sometimes there's only communications of fear and strictness, but there's no openness to share without any judgment. And so all this brings silence, and us not even bothering to talk to our family breaks their heart. And finally, we break the Lord's heart by not coming
Coming
together and
together.
bringing to Him. And so this is another compact one room scenario that happens, which we have to be wary about, which we have to be very careful about in talking to our parents and seeing how they are, talking to our family members. And we shouldn't end up in a scenario where we are only looking out for ourselves. We are held up in the room, and we're having so much fun, and we're having getting used to only being with ourselves, that we hate being with our family, and we are only thinking selfishly. If I'm happy, then everything is fine, my life is so beautiful, my life is so fun, whereas the next person is suffering right next to us. And this in turn goes into other issues and problems, isn't it? Only being with ourselves and not even being able to communicate with anybody. Um, it's it produces a socializing issue.
So, when we are confined to our space, our personal space, our personal zone, so sometimes we use our phone, our headphones as a barrier to the outside world. A lot of people, I think, when they share a room with their sibling or share a room with their parents, I think that's the tool that they use to block out the world, to be with themselves. So, sometimes we use the excuse of this is my me time. I'm just going to do this for 1 hour before I go to sleep. But then it becomes a habit, and we tend to do that right when we get home. So, right when we meet our family, when we know that there are a lot of people around us, we put it out and block out the world. And that turns into right when we get home till the time we leave, we are just in that zone. So because of that, because we don't socialize with the people in our own family who may have different characteristics, different traits, they may be different than us, or even similar to us, we are not able to talk to the people outside our
Yes.
home. So whether it be our relatives, whether it be the people in our classroom, the people in our workspace, we always have that label of, oh no, they only work alone. They are not a team player, or they are not a good friend. They are not communicating with anybody. So we are not able to face the challenges in the outside world, and that really reflects on it affects our daily life as well. So it is important to take a step to reach out to our family members, at least sit with them and have that conversation, even though it may be uncomfortable at first. But it is important to spend time with each of our family members, either like watching a TV show together or cooking something together, or like discussing about what happened in the news or in the current events, or something that's interesting to the other person, or sharing your interests with them can really build a bonding moment with them. And then when we go outside, you'll be like, oh, you're like my little sister, you have that same interest, you have that same characteristic, and we'll be able to communicate with them in a more easier way.
That is forming a relationship 101
Yeah.
with a new person. And yeah, in our home it's about ministry all the time.
Yeah.
We talk about what we need to do, what the Lord is talking to us, what we need to accomplish. We're all, focused on that, and we are driven in that all the time. Of course, we have a common interest. We watch cricket, we watch football, we watch some shows, and we have some fun. There are other things, so it's very important. And this spells teenagers because I went through it. I'm sure I can't speak for you, but teenagers is the age of me time. It's not just 30 minutes or 40 minutes, it's 7 years or 8 years or 9 years of me time.
Yeah.
They forget about everybody else in the world, everybody in the family. They're the center of the world, and everybody has to do good to them. Everybody has to be nice to them, and they don't need to reflect all of that. Everybody has to do favors to them. Everybody has to be loving to them, but they don't need to show any love to anybody. That's how we kind of feel during teenage. I think we need to have a different show about that, a
Yeah.
different conversation about that. But it's important to realize, because finally we find the teenagers, or any young person in that case, in this day and age, even little children are growing up like that they are very shy and awkward to even talk to their closest relatives in a birthday function or a wedding, or going out with them. They always tend to stick to just one person or two people, or just to their phones, or just to themselves all the time. So it's important to be aware of that in this lesson of the compact one room scenario.
Because at that moment it might feel like it's not affecting anybody, it's not affecting my life, it's not affecting the people around me. But then as you grow older, you might not have that bonding with anybody around you. You might not have anybody to stand with you or to support you, or that kind of affects your life as you grow up as well. So it is important to have those important relationships, or even acquaintances with the people around you. Just saying hi will go a long way to your neighbors or to the people that you work with. At some point they'll be useful to you, and in that way you can grow nurturing and very meaningful relationships in the future. Even when you're a young person, when you think that nobody cares what you think or what you feel, but even from that time, when you start, when you grow older, it'll become helpful to you.
That's very true. One final thing that I can think of happening in this, being in a compact space with each other, is our character and how it gets affected. We want to have privacy to, yes, privacy, as you say, is needed at times, sometimes to just be with ourselves, or to think, or to reflect. But we use it as a cover to hide ourselves, hide what is wrong with us, or hide what the world doesn't accept, or hide what our family doesn't accept, or, yes, hide wrong things in us, bad habits that we develop. But it all comes out when we are in a room together with them. And that's why we bring up this scenario. So you can't, do your bad habits right in the open before everyone. You have to adapt, and you have to show your good self, your good mask all the time. You have to be truthful all the time. You cannot lie to anybody. And can we keep that up? Is that a realistic thing? That's what I'm thinking. If we are in such a room together all the time, can we keep up being a good person? I think it forces us to be someone like that.
So this is a good point, because I feel like we can be good 24/7, even in a space where we are exposed all the time. We don't have that personal place to go and hide. I feel, because what I've learned growing up is to have the same life when you're in a private space and in your public space, just having your set of values, your set of morals to keep you in check 24/7, no matter if it's through your phone, through a hidden space, or through a place where people don't know who you are. or in a place where you're exposed to your family members or the people around you 24/7, having that set of values to say, no, I won't do certain things, I won't do these things, but I will be the same even when I go out and present myself to someone new or to the people around me. The behaviors might change, how extroverted you are, how outgoing you are, how you speak to certain people, and how you are to the people closest to you. But the morals shouldn't change no matter where you are. So doing this, I won't do this, I will do this. Being firm in that is very important. So that is why we need to be strong in what is right and what is wrong. So reading the Bible really helps with that, even at this young age. Not just listening to, spiritual leaders or just relying on those kind of sources, but that can be an addition to that for you to mature more, to have more different perspectives, more examples, more, things that you can look up to. But you have to have your base correct in order for you to live a righteous, a good, and upright life.
Because even if you're not in a room all the time with your family who will point out what you're doing wrong, you're all the time facing God in your own room, and He's there with you. And so that's why we say that there is somebody with you all the time who's looking at you and who's wanting you to do the right thing, who's wanting you to uphold all that He has taught, the good morals that He has taught in the Bible. And don't worry. We don't have to work it out ourselves or struggle to make that happen. But one thing that we always have to be careful and conscious to do is what Stella says is in the morning, ask for his strength by reading the word and asking, what do you want to give me, Lord? And receive it and pray over it and ask for strength that it will be fulfilled. And no matter what evil temptation or desire might come to you to ruin that promise, it will be stopped because God has spoken that promise. You have received it, you've prayed over it, and you have gotten it as a victory in your life. It will come true. No evil can prosper. God's Spirit will help you. And so, this is what we wanted to portray today in this compact one room scenario. It's not that we're asking you live in one room so that you will do all these things perfectly. Live in one room with your family. I think that has pros and cons. But what we're saying is to do all these things even without living in the same space with your family, to communicate to them, to be careful in your arguments, to find a mutual yes, okay, we'll move on together. And what else?
Making a point to start a conversation, building a bond, even if it is from scratch. And also being right in the eyes of the Lord, no matter who's watching, no matter who you're around, having that base, and to know the Bible, what it says, right or wrong, and be strong in that.
I just want to read Hebrews 10:24 in how the Bible beautifully puts this. And let us consider how we may spur one another on toward love and toward good deeds, not giving up meeting together as some are in the habit of doing, but encouraging one another. It is important. Our family needs us, and we need them to share and show this love and good deeds in this world. For us to keep this going, that's why God has put us together as a family and use the power of family to strengthen each other, to encourage each other, and to spur on each other towards what the Lord wants to do. Where one falls, the other will lift them up. And so it is so important to be together, my friends. I hope you'll put this into practice, and I hope that this discussion has made you think, made you submit, and made you correct. And ask the Lord, help me to perform all this and to change my ways, because it's not easy to change what we have been doing for so many years. but the Lord will give you a new heart and a new strength as we pray just a short prayer right now, Stella.
Yeah, sure. Lord Jesus, I pray for each young person watching this program, Lord. Lord, give them a new heart, a new spirit to know what is right, what is wrong, and how to live a righteous life even from this young age, Lord. Help them to have a strong bond with their family, with each one of their family members, so that they can support them in each and every way, and also stand with them, check in on them, and be a wonderful child to their parents, their grandparents, and comfort to the people around them, Lord. I pray that you will mold their character just how you want them to be, with your wisdom, with your knowledge as to what you have for them to say, what you have for them to do, how they should live their life, Lord. Be with them and give them the strength to overcome any temptation, any distraction, any separation that they might want to do, Lord. I pray that you will bind their heart together and give them a new heart to love each and every person around them, Lord, and to serve them and to help them and to live a happy life, Lord, together as one family, Lord. I pray that you will remove all of their distractions and their weaknesses and their shortcomings, and give them confidence and your strength to stand strong and stand firm in their life, Lord. I pray that you will mold their hearts into what you want for them to do, Lord. I pray that you will remove every fear and give them the confidence in their life. In Jesus' name I pray.
Amen. So, my friends, tell us in the comments if you're watching this in YouTube that how you want to change, in what aspect, and how this has helped you. Or you can send it in our UTurn WhatsApp number, or email us at testimony@jesuscalls.org. Even in the coming days, if God has helped you bring a great change towards all that we talked about, towards your family, then we'll be delighted to hear from you. And once again, these podcasts are in
Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts, and other platforms. So you can listen and follow us each week for these new topics, and also let us know how you like them.
yes, and of course, UTurn YouTube.
Yes.
So we'll see you in the coming weeks with more of this. If you really like this, put a like on this wherever the like symbol is, and tell us in the comments, and we'll do more of this. See you next time from Tik Talk, a UTurn podcast from Sam
And Stella.
Bye.
Bye.